Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips in the balance of the favor of fair use. Born of the division within yourself, the powerlessness of your ego to control your mind, there is an emptiness which is concerned with our relationship with life. An emptiness that reflects a troubled relationship that we have with ourselves, whether it's intellectual or spiritual, yet it's still an emptiness. The emptiness can also align with depression, and it can be deeply related to shame. As you know, depression has a variety of symptoms, including sadness and crying, anxiety or restlessness, shame and guilt, apathy, fatigue, change in your appetite, sleep habits, poor concentration, so on and so forth, all ending in the feeling of feeling empty. There could be some restlessness, a void that can even push us into addictive behaviors, feelings of emptiness, deadness, nothingness, meaninglessness, or isolation. Colors an undertone of depression. We may feel this periodically. Either it can be very vague or it could be profound. The emptiness doesn't need any triggers. It's just feelings that are usually come upon us by acute shame or loss. In its severity, it goes above any sense of responsibility, sending us into an abyss. Childhood trauma can leave a deep inner hell that is unspeakable and unnameable. Emptiness or nothingness actually forms a matrix of our sense of self, the divine ground of being. The absence of a mother creates a space of no thing. Self-alienation starts in childhood. That's what they say. It results in a disconnection to the real self that creates a feeling of emptiness and not really living or sleepwalking through life. Deficiency leads to codependency, which addicts and many individuals with mental disorders have. The lack of developing your own core self is a contributing factor to codependency because you can't assess yourself because of your feelings, what you're thinking, and your behavior revolves around other people or even a damn addiction. Living externally through the lives of other people whose opinions measure our own self-worth. Self-alienation comes from a lack of awareness and a connection to your internal life, the real you. Giving you a lack of inner experience, impairing your feelings, your willing, your thinking, your wishing, your believing. The loss of self generates deep despair, a sickness like unto death. But it's a loss that does not scream. When we sit in self-alienation, it sucks us up. It gives us meaninglessness, nothingness, nothing. It's a sense of a broken reality, making us feel hollow, empty, just like there's a devouring black hole in our internal world. That emptiness underlines codependency and addiction that leads to chronic depression, a severe abandonment, which can result from childhood because we didn't get the nurturing and the empathy. And that led to depression, emptiness, panic, guilt, rage, and helplessness. What if our own people that was charged to take care of us, what if they were mentally ill? What if they were an addict? What if they were codependent themselves? And without having that soothing, natural response that we would get from somebody who would nourish us, it was gone. And all it left was us feeling helplessness, vulnerability, and complete dependency upon other people or adults to survive. Panic and frustration pushes us to think and reflect. Do we trust anybody to step in that gap? Beloved, what happened was is that we learned the capacity to tolerate separation from any type of nurturing effect that we would have gained through a mother. because our mother was absent or unresponsive. It became a no thing. And it ended up filling up with negativity and feeding that black hole in our soul. Codependency is something external to us to make us feel as though we belong. But what happens when you experience depression and emptiness? Just like when you go cold turkey to stop an addiction, it will eventually end. Emptiness and depression are real deficits. But you don't have to stay there. Let me tell you something. There was something so much greater, so much better that we can have in order to make us whole again. So we don't miss out on the joy, the contentment, and the ability to manifest our own desires. We have the ability built inside of us if we just tap in to the energy of our real self. If we could just believe that we can direct our own lives, I'm telling you, it is a confirmation. We don't have to continue to feed the black hole in our soul and feel as though things will never change and that nobody cares. I don't know about you, but the divine cares. The divine cares more than you know. So what you have ultimately did is that you sat here and prepared for the storm. There will be times that you will do battle with various types of storms in your life. And there'll be times when you're blindsided and that you never saw a situation coming. In the thick of that storm, you think, if I can only have prepared myself for this situation, how is it that the spirit and the ancestors didn't tell me that this type of shit was going to be on my doorstep? Many things go through our mind while we're fighting to survive a life storm, a literal, natural disaster storm. But we've learned, but at what cost? Sometimes we find ourselves questioning our beliefs and questioning the judgment. We give ourselves reasons why we might have to deserve this kind of treatment in this situation. You know what happened? You got stronger for it because you survived. When you choose to look back at the storm outside of your emotional attachment, there is usually a very thin line of reasoning that shows up. We didn't prepare. Preparing for a storm doesn't always come in a form of being able to remove yourself from the matter. In many instances, it comes in paying more attention to our surroundings and listening to ourselves internally. There we find that every red flag that was missed. And it's not a moment for self condemnation or judgment. Storms are going to always come. So when we look back, it's time to learn how to prepare going forward. Hurricane season is still here. And it seems like it's still in full swing. Every time you looked up, there was another storm. And some of us weren't prepared for the initial storm. We didn't have adequate time to recover before the next storm hit. Preparing and weathering a storm. You're always in preparation. The divine is there to assist you through any storm. Your spiritual counsel is there to assist you through the storm. You just have to release and surrender it onto that. Don't look at some of the things that you didn't do as being foolish. Far too often, we are not mentally or spiritually prepared to handle any level of a storm at any given time. There are so many things that we can do internally to prepare ourselves for those storms. We just don't always know when they are coming. And that we didn't have time to get it together when we did. Don't blame external things. Shit happens to us. Some are worse than others. And I don't want to take away from the things that you went through in the journey from your childhood up to today. But today, you have a choice. Today, you learn how to steal yourself. Even as things are getting worse around you, it's important to be able to stop, take a seat, and gather yourself internally. Anchor yourself, breathe, pray, have a meditation moment, and set yourself in balance. Allow this to become a part of your daily life, and allow those things to be a part of your shadow work. If you do those things, it'll make it easy to balance when a storm shows up. When you're not in a state of panic, you can see clearly and make wise decisions. In addition to those practices, seek out things that can help you weather the storm, that is beneficial to you. Fortify your spirit and add in that emotional capacity in dealing with life storms. This is the preparation that often gets pushed aside as we deal with everything else that's happening. But yet, this is the determining factor of how or if you can weather a storm and come out truly stronger on the other side. Balance yourself. Stay in the here and stay in the now and allow the shadow to do what shadow do. And when you're ready to sit down and take care of that, you will make time and space for that healing. Take stock to weather the hurricane. Admit the peace. Admit the balance. Admit the stillness that you've been working towards to make you feel as though you can face anything, whether you're alerted or not. Take the time to stock up internally, because this is the best storm preparation, and you owe that to yourself. Weather the storm, baby, prepared. Allow the emptiness, the depression, and all of that codependency and living in the past as though you lost yourself. Don't let that be your guiding tool. You ain't lost. It's just a blip on the radar screen. You feel me? You got this. I know you got this. Thank you for stopping by Blended Healing and giving me a little bit of your time. I appreciate that. I hope I was able to help. Thank you, Divine Source Energy. Thank you, Holy Council. Thank you so much for dropping this in my lap on today. Weathering the storm. Thank you. Be well, Ashe, and deep bow to each and every one of you. And I shall see you all very, very soon.
Tough you up, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
When I go out and get it, try to bring it back. They always gonna need somebody to point the finger at. On me now harder than it was when I was slinging. I'm a tax-paying citizen. I ain't slinging jack. Keep my name in the mix, cause they know me. I ain't never hung out with them. We ain't homies. A lot of the hate really come from being lonely. And as soon as you stop playing with them, you being phony. I ain't playing with them. Nah, shotty for the youngsters. Give them the whole thing. Yeah, body in the dumpsters. Crew of niggas that tie niggas up. Call it trunks. The way I'm on it, it's like a new Gotti is amongst us.
Good morning, y'all. Good afternoon. Good evening, y'all. I'm just talking shit cause I'm breathing, y'all. I'm just talking shit cause I'm an evening, y'all. I'm simply MCing, y'all. Good morning, y'all. Good afternoon. Good evening, y'all. I'm just talking shit cause I'm breathing, y'all. I'm just talking shit cause I'm a heathen, y'all. I'm simply MCing, y'all.
I put so much work in this game, 2,000 days to catch me. Rewards are hopping off a plane, Jamaica waves and jet ski. They raise me better. Look around, grown and behave at Bessie. Me Viennese, De Niro, Pacino, Pesci, nigga. My pocket's hefty, Desi, Eagle, lefty. Respect me. So far ahead, I'll still be past you if I leave a century. Your demons set me, Benzo, Beamer, Bentley. I gotta see no respite. And the machine that's full of chemos test me. Long as my niggas from the curb support me, I'm straight, cause word is costly. I penny 16s up in purgatory. That punch title doesn't disservice for me. I'm more than words escorting. Here for reasons, what's this version taught me. My younger Mackin got the birds that stalk me. Frequently replicated. My triumph made my other version salty. Shooter Milwaukee and suburban salty. On my return, I'm popping all this shit. Popping the blue, you lost me, nigga.
Good morning, y'all. Good afternoon. Good evening, y'all. I'm just talking shit cause I'm breathing, y'all. I'm just talking shit cause I'm an evening, y'all. I'm simply MCing, y'all. Good morning, y'all. Good afternoon. Good evening, y'all. I'm just talking shit cause I'm breathing, y'all. I'm just talking shit cause I'm a heathen, y'all. I'm simply MCing, y'all.